This is the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame here in Elkhart, Indiana, and my favorite museum, or probably place in the world, let's be honest.
We are lifetime members.
So, not to brag, and you should be too if you love RVs. But today we're going to take a look at a couple of the changes that they've made in there, and it doesn't change often.
No, and I haven't seen the updates. Joel came in without me the other day, so this is my first time.
Yep. Well, and actually, they're also digitizing their entire library of magazines and books, which I think is awesome. Let's take a look. Now, things don't change here too frequently, so having a rearrangement like this is kind of a big deal.
It's very different.
Now, there were 3 motorhomes that they had here that have been moved, but one thing I kind of like about this arrangement, although it's kind of, you know, it's a little something to get used to, I'd say, and navigating it can be a little awkward trying to get to the next row. One thing I really like is the access that we have to some of these rigs. Actually, like this guy right here. This is a 1913 Earl travel trailer and Ford. Previously, we didn't have quite the access to this, and it's quite a marvel. I mean, it is in incredible shape, all of the materials, and it's a really cool thing to see. And if you are a fan of automotive history, this is right down your alley. So while the Earl travel trailer is likely the oldest travel trailer in existence, this might be the oldest telescoping apartment in existence. And it was a retrofit to these beautiful Model Ts. Fascinating.
They were sold as aftermarket camping parts to the trucks. And what you do is you have to fold this up and push it in, and then you have to fold the hatch down on the back and
Let me together.
And then like slide it all the way into this little section up here.
Yeah, it's fascinating because they were using kind of like almost dovetailing, but basically angled pieces of wood to keep these on track. And then you have a flip down kind of a butt hatch here. And so while this is just painted wood, it's all metal on this side. And even here on the side, you can see you have a little sliding window. There's no screens, there's no glass, but you have a little port to see out, which is kind of cool. And then when you're all done, of course, pack it together and then hop in the front. I imagine during the Great Depression, people picked these up and traveled across America.
It was like a truck camper, really.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of like it. Now, but that adorable little telescoping apartment was only $100 back in the 1910s. These house cars are significantly more. These were built in the 20s, actually, and let's start with this guy over here.
This is a 1928 Pierce Arrow Fleet house car, and it was actually only one of 3 built before the economic crash in 1929.
And it is quite an interesting model. So obviously this is built on a much heavier duty frame chassis. You actually have wooden running boards here, which I think are really quite nice. The driver's almost right in the center there. They have these beautiful windows. You have a compact but functional kitchen in here. You have beautiful glass, although these ones are a little bit more a little beat up, you know, it's an old rig, right? And then you come all the way to the back and you have these beautiful windows. They have little valances on the outside of them.
Kind of like soda shop style.
It is soda shop style, but this beautiful rounded glass. And I'm seeing wires run through, which I'm wondering if it was a defrost system, like an early defrost system. I noticed that these windows, so you have the door out the driver's side on that side, and then it looks like one on the passenger side here as well, but they actually rolled down, which I wouldn't have expected. You know, that was not cheap at the time. You have kind of a leather top here, and then to pair with that, you actually have a black fencing on the rear.
Yeah, like a cast iron fence.
To make it more like a house car. And even today, this is just a beast. I mean, it'd be gorgeous to see going down the road, but I love the stop lamps. I like the turn signals that they had here, which I imagine were a retrofit considering, but what a style that was.
This one right here was built in 1931. It is a Mae West house car, which just means that Mae West was a movie star, and the way they got her to come and be a movie star was that this was her little lounge that they created. So it's not actually designed to travel, but to just be a lounge.
Paramount put a little bit of money into this, and it's a beautiful rig still. Of course, you have a lot of wood on the inside here, a lot of seating, so a couple rows of seats. But then the porch, I think if you combine the two of these trucks, I think it would be really cool. If I had to pick one, you know, I'm picking that 1928, but these are really cool having this porch, and you don't really see that except for in destination trailers today. So I would love to see that again, because everybody wants somewhere to just like pull off, and you know, she'd actually have a rocking chair here occasionally when the weather permitted. How cool is that?
That's really cool. And the last house car here is a 1929 Weidman house car. It's built on a Stewart truck chassis. What's interesting about this one is, one, the driver's seat is actually a chair that you can move. There's not like a fixed driver's seat in here. And two, this is built with this panel here that can flip down and turn into a bed with a canvas top on it. Maybe even the first pop out. That's a very interesting thing. This one doesn't do it. It's bolted up right now.
I also noticed they have a cloth roof. And I'm wondering if that's not one of those poor man fiberglass type things right there, where they would use glue or paint or a combination of both in order to seal that surface. But you do have a flip out windshield on this guy. You have these beautiful windows along the top, which I just imagine would give you kind of a fishbowl effect. But it's also fascinating because you can be cooking breakfast as you're going down the road with a stove right there by the driver's seat.
I mean, I just call that efficiency.
Yeah. Now down this row is another house car. This is the 1937 Hunt house car, but this is another example of where you can cook your breakfast while you're going down the road. You got a stove right there. Isn't that something? Now this beauty with its metal side and canvas top, again, I think a poor man's fiberglass, which is actually how they used to do sailboats. This 37 was a Hayes motor home. Before, of course, they actually had motors attached to them. But instead of using the phrase driving, where you drive down the street, you would motor on down the street. And what a dark but beautiful interior this had. We often receive comment questions about what motorhomes we recommend today, whether it's a Class C or Class A motorhome. This little guy was actually made by one of the very few companies that we suggest, which is Lazy Days. And this cutie is from the 1950s. It's on a really cute snub-nosed Dodge chassis here. But when you look at the overcab, it really meshes nicely with the front van, and actually the connecting points right in between, I could see that leaking. You get the aluminum siding, and they kept that up until they shut down in 2020?
2020, we actually had a motorhome on order from Lazy Days when they met their demise. So
Yep.
that never came to fruition for us.
Which clearly, it was for the best. But what a cute, compact little unit, and you even have a dinette at the rear to sit and enjoy the food that you make right in the center. And they're efficient designs. People love these, and you can see why.
I just think they're so groovy and they're so cute.
Very groovy. This adorable little trailer, which is probably not only the cutest Airstream ever made, but possibly the cutest RV ever made, is Der kleine Prinz, which translates from German into the Little Prince.
Yes.
And it's adorable. There's no evidence that these were actually sold to the general public, but was a Wally Bynum prototype. This is from 1958, and it's got the cutest interior. I'm sure that some of this was restored and loved. But you have this front couch that does pull out into a bed. You have a corner kitchen, and you have a corner bathroom, and you have a big furnace in here, and then a little bit of storage. And I honestly, I could see us driving one of these.
Oh yeah, and this painting of it is beautiful.
People are very passionate about this, and this was actually sitting on a dealership lot prior to somebody buying this, and they said this has to be preserved forever. And I can see it. It's an amazing little guy.
Yeah. Smallest Airstream ever built.
So while this was actually created as a prototype for the Bambi model that was going to go over into Europe, it gets to live its life here. And interestingly, I have a little affinity for 13-foot trailers. Escape has a 13-foot that we have yet to see as well in person, and it is adorable, and it comes in only 13 colors, and how awesome is that? You guys, tell me this little 64 Coachman Cadet is not the cutest little thing ever. And I love that color, this little green. Oh, she's beautiful. The flooring in here is a choice, but you've got seating down here, you've got a bunk in here, you've got a kitchen in the front, and I think this is a non-bathroom unit. Yes, but you could have a little bathroom in there, a little wet bath. How cute is this? But one thing is how low these windows are, because my point of view from my eye line is actually up here. This would be a little bit of a bunker there. How cute is this, right? Now they've gone ahead and moved all the motor homes kind of into one line here. And I love that they catch this beautiful Coachman. We've showed this before, but there are two features I think we love more than anything on this. And that is this wonderful layout here, as well as the pattern on here. See, they've got two captain's swivel chairs over here, which you could in the modern day just make that a little desk that flips away if you want to. You've got cabinetry on both sides. You've got a bed up front, which I actually really like that. If you're going to be in a Class C with an overhang, why not just have your bed up front?
Right.
Right. I know a lot of B pluses take that out. It doesn't make sense. You could have this just for lounging So if you got a lot of people that you want to hang out with, which we don't, get out. But this could turn into a lounger or a bed. You got an amazingly efficient sink and stove and a whole kitchen set up here. Good storage. You got a microwave up there. Yeah, I would say this isn't so great as a fridge, but you know, it'll do the job. And then back here is where all the magic happens. You got a full shower. It's a dry bath. You got a shower. You got a toilet. You got your cabinetry, and you got a rear window. Oh my goodness! I did not realize how. That's a dangerous window, isn't it? You just get up in here. You know what I mean? And howdy, neighbor.
You know whose rig this reminds me of? Our Endless Adventure, Clementine.
Kind of reminds me of Clementine, but I think this is the exact same layout that Eric, Nomadic Fanatic, had initially.
Oh, the fabric that they used in here, I feel like it's probably not the original fabric, but I love it.
It's not super busy. It's a nice palette.
Yeah, it's like muted pinks and blues and maroon and white and like, it's just really nice. I just really like it.
I also like that it matches the valances. It matches the front seats. Like, they did such a great job here.
Sure did.
Now, with all the motorhomes on this side, I was kind of curious as to why that is, because I think that kind of cramped their style. They came up with an idea of like where to move everything, and well, they've got a lot of rigs to show and a relatively small area considering the quantity, right?
Yeah.
But I think this beautiful Bluebird was actually the reason why, and I suspect it still runs and drives and all that good stuff. I mean, they got it here. When they went to go move this, it had a really tough time because of the air brake system. But what ends up happening is that, of course, these guys will sit here, the tanks will drain all of the air, and inevitably you cannot actually move this bus because the brakes are completely locked and they are really heavy. So it's kind of funny. They had to work everything around this guy because I don't know that they let it run for long enough in order to allow the air tanks to reinflate and run everything. So that's kind of a little funny little snippet there. Now, as you exit the museum, you'll actually see the Hall of Fame members here. Those have been inducted into the wonderful Hall of Fame here. One notable person we see is Wally Byam, and he wasn't inducted until the 1970s, though he had passed in the 1950s, unfortunately.
You used to actually be able to walk around upstairs, and all of these were lining the hallway upstairs. And it looks like they've just moved them all downstairs and rearranged a little bit, and so that they're more notable.
The contention that mobile home owners do not pay their fair share of taxes is erroneous, as related in the following article, Taxation and Mobile Homes by Professor C.W. Edwards, Michigan State University. That was back in April of 1966. And this is fascinating because we don't really have a lot of magazines like this. And I love seeing all the old advertisements. I just think those are so cool.
The internet has definitely taken over.
It really has, but people were so passionate about it. And it's really awesome to see actually kind of how the culture has changed over time and being more focused on like technology and now video, of course, and the accessibility that anybody has to create video or magazine if they so chose, but how accessible the internet has created it, even for those that don't have $20, $30, $40 to buy a magazine or even $5, but they can go ahead and watch a video. But it's also really cool to be able to come here and see what life was like from the mouths or the pens or the typewriter of the people that really were not only in the industry, but super passionate about it. But they have an entire library here of, I mean, back to 1940s, 30s, documents, manuals, magazines, a ton of magazines. And they even have Gypsy Magazine here. It's just so interesting.
They also have like parts catalogs and photo albums and how-to guides and stuff like that.
And I love seeing the photos and the renderings of like what they want mobile homes or homes on wheels, including RVs, to look like. But for those that don't know, actually, post-war, World War II, they were looking at all RVs as great housing for people. And even in the Great Depression, they were looking at mobile homes as a much more affordable way and be able to afford to take your home where the work was. And that's a huge deal. And we still see that somewhat today, and you see like the work campers and such. But it was very different back then. And I think it's really awesome. It's really important to see that now. And you have to wonder, what, 2015 and forward, really 2010 and forward, are we ever going to be able to see this information in the future? Is it going to be this well preserved, for example, or, a lot of the internet can easily just go away.
Right.
Thank you guys for watching. I hopefully you had a little fun. We love the Hall of Fame.
We do. We love coming here.
It's really cool. So it's also worth considering becoming a lifetime member because I just love it here. You should too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.